needed to get paid. Betting favorites, don't you know? Couldn't pick a winner, nothing was going right. Sitting in the sports book with my dough running low and tickets getting torn. The lying on the floor, been like a madman out of control. So I headed on out that door. Well, I remember what a bookie said to me. He swore I could always win. I never should have listened, you know. I never ever should have listened to him. Against the spread, I'm betting against the spread. When I'm older now, I'm still betting against the spread. Against the spread.
All right. Good morning, everybody. On a Degenerate Friday, we begin the show. There's literally, Lubie, and I don't know if this is going to end up coming through here on the show, but there is literally a guy on a roof with like a pile driver.
I don't hear it, so you're good for now.
And most time for these guys is not even 8 o'clock. It's like 7:45. They were already dumping like giant objects up there on the roof. Had a crane going up as I'm making my usual morning couple of eggs. And I'm thinking, this is not going to be fun. I'm waiting for some dust to just come down and hit me on the head.
No.
All right, we have arrived at the moment of truth, Michael Lubie Lubitz, the moment of truth. And yet it was an extremely exciting week on any number of sporting fronts. How about the NBA stealing back the thunder of all of the Super Bowl conversation? Steve Kerr is crying, no, they should have the trade deadline after the All-Star game. Well, they played the NBA All-Star game the last week of the season.
Yeah, dude, it's like game 50.
Game 77 is already being contested. And, oh, well, you know what? We're going to have a week off here for the All-Star break. That should help the Cavs. What the fuck are you talking about? But it couldn't have worked out any better for the NBA. The NBA grabbed all. And if you were trying to win the news cycle, as is the case with one Donald J. Trump, always winning the news cycle because the people are obsessed with this guy. Why? Because it seems unfathomable that this nut job is president of the United States, and yet people love him. The majority, right? Slim as it may be. Everybody's trying to define, well, you know, it wasn't a landslide. Yeah, but the fact is the guy fucking won. Unbelievable.
You did win.
So the majority of people somehow were on board with the idea that this was a good, thing to do. Bring this guy back, and we're seeing some very. You would have to say at the very least, it's been some interesting maneuvers so far, right? I mean, literally, like letting the fox into the hen house there. And this Elon Musk thing is a mystery because did you think? I don't know that I had a strong opinion about Elon Musk either way. I mean, you knew the guy was filthy rich. I don't know that. I mean, people are pointing out now that he was not especially charitable in any of his endeavors. It's not like you have hospital wings named after Elon Musk or that he's funding some giant food, and feeding organization that's helping out people in third and fourth world countries that are starving. You don't see a lot of that associated with this guy. But look, he could do what he wants with his money. That's up to him entirely. He made it. It's his. And somehow he's hanging out with the right people so he can hang on to 99.9% of it, no matter how much he makes. But you would have to say it's a curious development to have this guy just pouring over everybody's records there and having access to things.
It's fucking weird.
Who's this 25-year-old kid, the Black Dog or whatever his name is, Merchant of Death? I'm not sure exactly who it is, but there seemed to be some outrage over that. But winning the news cycle certainly is a Trump characteristic that he has exploited to the point where he's been elected president twice.
Yes.
In three elections. He's 2 out of 3. Not bad. The NBA, though, did win the news cycle. I mean, they're still winning it, right? Still deals being made back and forth, and we don't know what the hell's going to happen. And then you had teams playing where, I mean, for example, last night, the Dallas Mavericks are 12.5-point dogs. The Dallas Mavericks, who don't have Anthony Davis yet in the lineup. They did have Max Christie in there. He scored 15 points, had a nice game. And he was a throw-in, ancillary, just extra part. Like, hey, well, what is this that's left over? All right, yeah, we'll throw it in there. Throw it in the box, Libby. Take it home, whatever it is. And he has an influence on the game as Dallas wins outright by 7 in Boston, 127-120. So a lot of weirdo results coming about as the aftermath of all of these trades. And we still have no idea how some of this stuff's going to work out. Not that it wouldn't take a long period of time to make a final judgment on who got the best of it and who got screwed. But we haven't seen Luka yet in a Lakers uniform. They were playing last night. Anthony Davis, yet to suit up for the Dallas Mavericks, although you're thinking that that's probably going to be favorable. The Lakers, this Rob Pelinka might be the luckiest man on the planet. No, he seemed to be. Did he not seem to be inherently inept for the job at one time? And now all he did was pick up the phone twice and ended up with Luka Doncic in a deal that everybody thinks was an overwhelming steal on the Lakers' behalf. And then he gets that center from Charlotte. What is it? Mark Williams is the guy's name?
Yeah.
Who just happens to be a perfect fit for everything that the Lakers seem to be lacking with the departure of Anthony Davis. Now, how does that happen? It wasn't like this guy was seeking these trades, and he had capital to give up in terms of draft picks. I mean, if you have Luka Doncic and this guy Williams, who I believe is a young guy, is he not?
Yes, he's young. Yeah.
I mean, you just put together the nucleus of what should be a fairly easy team to build around for the next 10 or 15 years, no?
Well, that's the thing is LeBron,
maybe 5 to 10 for sure.
LeBron maybe has a year left. You now have your next super. I mean, the guy's 25. Like
Yeah.
that's annoying. Like you go right into the next phase.
Doesn't strike me though, based on the conditioning issues that everybody's been pointing to with Dallas having some serious reservations about Luka's future at $70 million a year. Does it seem like he's the kind of guy like LeBron that's going to play till he's like 40? I don't think so.
No. Look, that's people's hope is that LeBron gets him on the regimen that he's bound. He's like notorious for spending like $1 million a year to keep his body in shape. He's never had a major injury. Like even Jordan had that injury early in his career. LeBron's never had an injury where that he's missed half a year. He's missed never. He went 42-17
one or two times he missed I think more than 10 games or something.
He's missed a month. But he's never missed like half a season. He's never done what almost every player does.
Amazing. And when you watch him today, you would swear he just came into the league.
Again, he had 42-17-8. Like, get the fuck out of here. Like,
but with a team that was otherwise depleted of talent because they didn't have AD and they didn't have Max Christie and they don't have Luka yet. And against Golden State, arch rivals there, and Steph Curry, who ended up having 37 points, even though I think he was having an horrendous shooting night heading towards the late portion of the game. And then must have caught fire. I believe he had a really low shooting percentage in the first half, something ridiculous.
He was 13 for 35.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
But he was like 0 for 8 from 3-point range. And I'm recalling this stuff while I was half in a fog, half asleep watching this game. But I'm pretty sure I remember an allusion to the idea that his first half was just an absolute stink bomb. And then he started to hit a couple of threes, and he rallied the Golden State. But LA ended up winning that ball game, which was pretty amazing also. Yep. You were getting plus 550, by the way, on the money line last night with the Dallas Mavericks, plus 550. Sometimes, I mean, do you just have to step out of your comfort zone when you're wagering, Lubie, and say, you know what? I mean, you almost have to have a Jersey Kyle type of philosophy, speaking against the spread, where whatever the majority of people think, every guy you talk to right now is saying, again, Lubie, how much can we stand this mantra and listen to it and not think, you know what, fuck you, I'm going against it. Never bet against Patrick Mahomes. Never. If we were on Radio Row and we interviewed 35 guys, 35 or 34 of them would have said, never bet against Patrick Mahomes, right?
See, because that's the thing is, maybe that's a national mindset. Everyone I know and I'm talking to is saying the opposite. They're like, well, the Eagles are better in every single category. So, which I don't agree with, actually. I don't think they're better in everything.
How much better can they be? I mean, look, they were suspect at different times.
Yes, a lot. Like
they were going to fire Nick Sirianni early in the season, weren't they? I mean, there was talk that this might be the time to let go of this guy, even though he was in the Super Bowl 2 years ago. Pretty weird. And then he rattled off. What did they win? Like their last 20 ball games? It was a nice run that they had at the end of the year, and they were doing it in the playoffs. They've actually been more impressive than they were at any time, I think, during the regular season. That would be the thing that would, I think, ignite the idea that Philadelphia is in there. I mean, how could they not be in there with a real shot, Louis?
No, I don't think it's a blowout. I think it should be a really good game. Everyone I talk to is picking the Eagles, and it's like, the Chiefs are like, well, the Chiefs, they've struggled. They've done this. They've done that. That doesn't work in the NFL. The Chiefs are like no team we've ever fucking seen. Like even the Patriots, great dynasty, had an off year. Every other year they would sort of struggle here. Like the Chiefs team hasn't done that. Like this Chiefs team plays like an NBA team. This Chiefs team reminds me of the Warriors, reminds me of the Lakers. Like they just play with their food just enough to get through. This is their 5th Super Bowl appearance. 5th. 7 times they've been to the AFC Championship game. Like
did it in a very business-like fashion this year too. I mean,
well, and Mahomes is
spectacular, just very pedestrian style.
That's the thing. People are like, oh, Mahomes isn't play. Is he not playing great, or is he just accepting his role in this team, which should be scarier? Like he doesn't have. He's not forcing himself to do crazy shit. He's not forcing himself to run around and get hit. He's not forcing himself to make crazy turnovers. Like
he doesn't do that Tarkenton stuff as much as he used to.
He's not doing it. Like, and again, whenever they need to make a play, he still makes that play. It's just they haven't played their best game yet, and that's my thing. It's like the Eagles have put all of it into every game. The Chiefs haven't. The Chiefs look like they're like, all right, fuck it. And I'm not saying that's right. They can't afford to do that now. There's something about it that it's like I think Mahomes gonna if Mahomes is to have his best game, wouldn't this be the time? Wouldn't this be the time? And he tears apart Fangio. Like I guess Ken told you, he's like undefeated against Fangio. There's a reason.
Fangio.
There's a reason he is. Like there's a reason. The way he plays defense is the kind of thing
that's tough to say though. I mean, Fangio is with the Denver Broncos for a big portion of his defensive coordinating career. So I mean, the Chiefs owned the Broncos during that period of time. No, so that's that. It's interesting because the professor's pointed it out. I mean, what the professor was talking about, which he'll join us later on with a big board of Super Bowl props that are ridiculous. Looking very much forward to that. It's an annual affair here on the show on Fridays before the Super Bowl. But the one thing he was literally professing throughout the week and change that he was filling in for you, Lubie, was that, and it makes sense that Mahomes doesn't do the crazy shit that he used to, but what he's become extremely efficient at is almost a Brady-esque type of discipline.
Yes.
Of releasing the ball a little more quickly and throwing to the right guy every time and finding a guy that's going to be inside of the soft part of a zone that's essentially protecting the outside of the field and leaving a little bit of space in the middle. And that his guys, especially, I mean, immediately you think of Travis Kelce catching a ball with his, as he's facing the line of scrimmage and then just turning around and bowling over the first guy. And then rambling for another 15 yards while 3 guys are draped on his back. And you have that with other guys that are in the receiving corps. But he's become very adept at doing that. I mean, you don't think of Mahomes slinging the ball 60 yards down the field anymore to a wide open guy. It's not like he's Dan Marino Jr. Much more efficient at doing the exact same thing that Fangio leaves open to other quarterbacks.
Fangio does it's what we hated about him here. He does the bend but don't break. He forces you to be patient. And again, we saw the Bengals do it a few years ago when Mahomes liked to make the big play and the Bengals shut him down. Since then, he's done a 180. It's like LeBron after that series where he let a fucking 5'6" guy defend him.
Yeah.
And Berea and 2 old men and Marion and Kidd. From that point on, the Heat are like, you have to get down in the post. No one can defend you. He changed his game. Mahomes has totally changed his game. Yeah, he's not winning MVPs. He's winning Super Bowls, plural. Like it's
coasting in there, literally coasting in there. So
I mean, I don't think it's a blowout. I don't think anything like that. And I think the Eagles can do a lot of what the Bills can do and I don't want to steal Ken's shine. We talked about this, so I'll let him. It's just I don't know, man. I've been waiting for them to explode, and it feels like they're like, let's just get fucking there. And the world will fucking see because a lot of people are picking against.
You're going a little bit magic wand theory on that.
Yes, it's real. That's what I feel they've done. I feel like they're very Warriors. Like it feels like the Warriors when everyone counted them out. Oh, the turnovers. Oh, they can't keep doing it. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. Like they're the best team for a fucking reason. They have the best coach. They have the best player who understands the game. He's older now. He plays the position better now than he ever played it before. It's just a different. It's just different. And I was never the Patriots can't lose. The Chiefs can lose. Like, it's not like they're impossible. The Eagles have a very talented team. Jalen Carter is a fucking man-child. Like, it's not, I don't think it's going to be a blowout by any means. I feel like they've been waiting for this moment. And I really feel like Mahomes is going to have his best game of the goddamn year this Sunday.
All right. So you're saying we're betting against Secretariat here.
Yes.
Like I think it was a 5-horse field in the Belmont. I'm betting the other 4.
Didn't you?
That's right of a move. And that kind of set the stage for my gambling adventures for the rest of my life. Although I don't have, I mean, as you get older, do you become more of a wimp when it comes to gambling, Lubie? You haven't experienced this yet, and of course you weren't. It wasn't something that was in your DNA. Did your father gamble? Was he a guy that was inclined to make a lot of wagers? No, didn't
My
bet.
grandparents, and not sports, and they
Degenerate?
love
Oh, they
table
love.
games and the slots. My
Okay, well, that's part of the disease, no question. Great.
grand-
All right, so I was thinking about this. I'm looking at the Super Bowl cities that we went to. I think I recounted them all here, Libby.
Okay.
We, as a tandem, and we started going to these Radio Row things. I began, resurrected my Radio Row adventures just prior to teaming up with Lubie on 940 Wins. And what year was that? That had to be
2010.
15 years ago. Yeah, okay. 2010, that's when we started.
Remember, I graded by the LeBron. They literally made the announcement.
Oh, that yes, exactly
We
right.
weren't doing a show yet. I remember I was doing like a gig, and I was sitting in my car because I was trying to watch it, but I had to go do a promotions gig at a club, and it took too fucking long. So I had
It
to
was like July of 2010.
It was July 2010.
Yeah. And I remember that distinctly also because, you're always reluctant to make these kind of moves because they, tell you, hey, it's going to be okay. You do whatever the hell you want. And then as soon as you do the first maneuver that is along those lines, they say, what the fuck are you doing? You They're asking you to sell your own time, and then they don't want you to sell it to anybody that they ever spoke with. Not even like had a contract. Just anybody. You know what? We went to the track one time. How can you go and approach Gulfstream? That's our client. So yeah, you have to. And so there was a little bit natural trepidation there. But I had just started the year before going back to Super Bowl Radio Rose when I was actually the professor was producing a show that I was doing on 1470. And I had just kind of started doing something, I think, with the Lapin Nation at that time. And okay, so this was a few years prior to you and I connecting. And I remember being in Phoenix, and I wasn't a huge fan of Phoenix, Arizona. I think it's okay. One of the good things was, I mean, they treat the media like champs there. They want to make sure you say a lot of favorable things, generate as much publicity as possible for the game. And so they have like a media golf tournament. I remember my game had deteriorated at that point to the stage where I probably should have never picked up a golf club again. And soon after this round, but if you play in Phoenix, Arizona, you play golf there, like this waste management thing is on this week. Bizarre courses. I mean, where you used to see this. Remember when they had that crazy challenge where they put Tiger Woods up against like, oh, was it Duval? Was it David Duval, the guy that was challenging him for a little while and then kind of fell apart completely? And then they would have the thing at night where they had lights on a couple of holes. Remember that? What was that called? The battle at whatever. They made like a one-on-one versus Tiger Woods, and it had various people challenging him, including, I think, women at one stage. And it was
Sorensen, yeah, because remember Sorensen became the Tiger of
right.
the women's game or whatever.
Oh, she was great, Annika Sorenstam. She was fantastic, but it was no match. And Duval would be impaled to a cactus.
Yeah.
He was trying to find his fucking ball. First of all, you can't find it in the daytime, and it's a very little chance that if you hit the ball even slightly off liner, it's just desert, Lubie. Desert. You got the tee box, which has some grass, might even be astroturf. And why do people want to go there? To play golf. I mean, the golf courses there are very primitive. I mean, it's like the kind of stuff you used to carve up if you were in some parking lot in Brooklyn and you were saying, okay, the bank there, that's going to be hole number 2. And you got to hit it off the wall and have it land in a hole over there by that one tree. Not much there. But I wasn't a big fan of Phoenix, but I do remember talking to, and I'm not sure, why can't I have some kind of clarity on how to pronounce this guy's name? The guy, Nowitzki, was it? The doctor?
Yeah.
Talking about concussions, and I'll never forget this. I mean, no one was talking to this guy. This was prior to the concussion thing really reaching a prominent level of attention in the National Football League, where people were finally saying, "Hey, wait a minute, man. How come all of these guys are paralyzed and so debilitated that they're barely even alive?" And no one's talking about the possibility that maybe they're banging heads too many times.
Oh, well.
Something needs to be done about that. And so this guy's walking around Radio Row there in Phoenix, Arizona, and he couldn't buy an interview. And then, of course, a year or so later, he was as hot of a topic as anything that you were finding in sports. But I do remember he sat down with me, and I thought, geez, I'm fucking getting desperate here, Libby. And you knew that feeling of desperation on Radio Row,
100%.
where you're sitting there and the show across from you has, like Dan Marino, and the show over here, they've got some other big superstar, and you're sitting there with some schmuck that's peddling like donuts, and might have written a pamphlet, about, as I said, like concussions, and they're walking around going, "Hey, yeah, you know what? I'm available." And like, you're a schmuck. But anyway, yeah. So Phoenix, I don't know. You were there. I think Dallas was our first one. Dallas was okay, but it snowed there like
Yes.
a quarter of an inch, a couple of snowflakes, and the whole city was devastated by that. They didn't know how to handle that. Indy was kind of a dump. New Orleans always good, although my recollection of that was still, and I can still envision it, Luby, as untouchable. All Elliott Ness team. Dan Marino is coming down the escalator, and you and I are walking in, and I figured I'll say something to Marino, something clever, you know me, and sure enough, I say, "What the hell is a guy like you doing here?" And that was right after he must have admitted to the CBS executives that he had a love child, and that they had to figure out how to cover this up, and sort of diplomatically let him go at the end of the season.
Just
Well, that was appropriate, Defo. Way to go! God couldn't be at any more of a moment of peril in terms of his media presence and
my
their
God.
reputation. Could
That's
threaten all of his commercial endorsements and all of the money that he's got coming in, and you're making a joke about it. But we had no idea. I mean, remember that? That was stunning news, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
I mean, when that started circulating, we're like, "Holy fuck!"
I remember you told Visser Mama, she's like, "Oh, Defo."
So that was a shocker at Radio Row, where we found out that Dan Marino had a love child, right?
Yes.
Was that? I mean, I don't know. I remember a bunch of different interviews. I remember. I guess this was in Indy when Kurt Schilling sat down with us, and he was wearing a pirate outfit.
Well,
And
Indy, it was Indy. Yeah.
he was hawking this bogus video game company that he had. Which what did he do? He buried people for like hundreds of millions of dollars.
He ended up getting like gone after for that same fucking game.
We gladly helped him promote it while we were at
He
Big
promoted
Smiles.
it,
Hey,
yeah.
that sounds really exciting. What about the bloody sock? You're going to talk about that? All right. So I mean, what do you? We talked about that Rick Barry interview. That one was like kind of crazy, where he actually remembered every detail of a game that he played with the Oakland Oaks at the East Comac Arena, or East Comac. It was a Comac Arena in East Comac, New York. Where the Long Island Nets played their games in front of like 2,500 if they sold out, with Dr. J in the lineup. And you would think, I mean, this had to be the most minor league arena that Rick Barry ever performed in, would you think?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Literally, it was like a hockey rink for, I believe, the Long Island Ducks played there, a minor league hockey team. And I don't know that it had any other purpose. I don't even think it was big enough to accommodate rodeo crowds on Long Island. So yeah, that was kind of wild. I don't know. I mean, what stands out to you? I remember Goldblum and is it Helmsworth? Chris Helmsworth.
It was Liam. It was the
Liam
younger Helmsworth and he had just gotten engaged. So I remember that was an interesting conversation because you were like going to get married to the saying. That's what I remember. It was San Francisco.
Oh yes.
And we were going to go to Vegas. So you were asking for advice from him. And if anyone who knows, their relationship ended in a disaster. The song Flowers is literally about how much of an asshole he was. And then you have Jeff Goldblum, who everyone who's seen him in person, that's him. Like the whole interview, and I have it somewhere, was just him playing this fucking game with you.
Yes.
And he met his match because most people would have just tried to direct him. We didn't give a shit about Independence Day Part 2, so we literally played the fucking game with him for like 10 minutes while not Visser was
Helmsworth.
No, I'm talking about the PR guy, our friend.
Chip Namias.
Yeah. Standing there freaking out because he's supposed to leave like 10 minutes earlier, but we're not going we usually follow the rules, but we're not pushing Goldblum out of here. Right. He was playing this fucking game for like a half an hour.
It was something with directors where you had like initials and directors.
No, you like threw words out there and you had to throw a word and you had to match it. And it's something he does on every set. And you're like, how the fuck are you doing this with Spielberg? Like, there's no way you're doing this with George Lucas, but I don't know that I'll never like. There was a lot of ones when we had Brooklyn Decker early in her career.
Decker admitting that she loved La Spada's original hoagies. I thought that was a major development
Even
and
though,
a nice extraction of a scoop. I think on Radio Row's as
yeah,
Radio
right.
Row
He
appearances
told me,
go.
look, the flutie, and now he's turned to the right, so it's annoying. But like when you're doing the tabletop drum off, and he actually got frustrated because
He was mad at me, I believe, for and he was much better at a tabletop drumming. I mean, he would have run away with that. And I consider myself an expert tabletop drummer. I've been doing it since I can remember, like all the way back. I used to get in trouble all the time. This was before I started playing the drums, but in the second and third grade, I still remember teachers going, "Would you stop that?" They couldn't get me to shut up either, Lubie. All right, so we had what? New Orleans, we mentioned. Minnesota was kind of weird.
know something.
And I remember that distinctly because we discovered as soon as we got there that we probably weren't going to be able to transmit anything.
That was, oh yeah,
Because
that was,
we didn't want to pay the $2,000 or whatever it was for the phone line that we needed. And you came up with the professor and devised an unbelievable scheme. And I've never seen a guy work so hard, honestly, as
it was
you
like
did.
annoying because the computer room was nowhere near where we are.
Yeah.
So I like everything we were doing was recorded anyway. So I was like,
Oh, and
okay,
we needed cooperation from a guy. Fortunately, it was a good Roy Perez was a great guy to work with,
yes,
as opposed to others
studio, yeah.
where and somebody started to say this to me the other day. It might have even been Chris Fisher. Where I mean, a lot of times the broadcast comes down to you could have the highest priced talent on the air. You could have executives that are making a fortune and have a resume that anybody would look at and think, "Wow, this guy's a broadcasting Hall of Famer." And it still all depends on the $6 an hour board op that was hired part time because he was somebody's cousin's cousin.
Yep.
And you don't know exactly what kind of attitude. It was always good. You had this, Libby, which was great. But when the person actually has the approach that I'm going to do this job as if I was the most important guy in the company, which it turns out that the last guy to be able to touch this stuff before it's transmitted is that guy.
Yep.
So you had to rely on sending this shit back to a guy that, I mean, there was a particular employee there that when we were working with him, we knew he flat out didn't give a fuck.
It was classic.
Wasn't a bad guy or anything. That
That's
was the
classic.
frustrating part. It was hard to get mad at this guy because he was a real good kid, but useless. I mean, as almost detrimentally useless. Where it was, if he was just useless, it would have been good. But he was like negative even to that.
Yes.
Amazing. We're not talking about WNN, Professor. Let's bring the professor.
Yeah. I was going to say he's standing by.
Okay. All right. There he is.
I feel like I just got talked about. The employee back.
Oh, no, that wasn't
It was
you.
Rudy. I don't mind saying names because he left radio and he has no interest in coming back. Rudy. It was our friend Rudy.
The
And it was
employee at
on-
the station who didn't give a fuck. I feel like
you
totally
actually did a
summing
good
me
job.
up.
You never dealt with Rudy. Rudy would literally, and the problem is, look, our show wasn't a big deal because we would do 20-minute segments and then 10-minute breaks. It was the trivia challenge. The trivia challenge was the one show where you had to be involved. You had to
Oh,
be
Rudy from the
attention.
trivia. Oh, yeah.
Rudy.
No, I remember that.
He's
Yeah.
doing our night shows. There was when we were doing night shows. So
I'm
our
not
night,
gonna lie. I don't feel like on the trivia show you were that much better, Lubie, because like you did not like getting up at 6 o'clock in the morning for the trivia show on a Saturday.
but I would put people on air. Like I would be bitter off air. But I would put you on air. I would play the noises. Like Rudy would literally leave Defo hanging. He'd be like, "We have."
Yeah, and the guy's out having a smoke. I mean,
And Rudy
I
would
just remember
like,
filling
timing
in
was
for
everything on
Brian
that
for a
show, too.
while on the trivia show and getting a lot of open hostility back
I was
over
bitter.
the
It was,
headset from
it
Lubie.
was fucking 8 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday.
oh no, Libby was not happy about that. All right, we've got a big board to get to, some other stuff with the professor, and of course you've got the big board, and this is an annual affair of lame prop bets or the most ridiculous prop
The
bets.
stupid bull props, yes.
Okay, very good, and hopefully I've been teasing this on Bury Your Bookie. Hopefully we'll be able to reprise this on that program as well, because
And we got some other things to talk about because I have never been more disgusted being a male than I am today.
all right.
Watching people like talk positively about this Bill Belichick appearance last night.
All right, we're coming back with the professor and a lot more in a moment. Now that. Belichick. 8:34.
Hey folks, Tony Segreto here. Let me ask you a question. What do you look for when you go out to eat? Good food, obviously, friendly atmosphere, not too loud, but good energy, reasonable prices, and a place where you feel comfortable. All those ingredients, no pun meant there, are hard to find unless you're talking about the Texas Roadhouse. You see, they encompass all of those attributes. Really, really good food, amazing atmosphere, good for a family, good for a date, or just a night out for yourself, and prices that will make you extremely happy. Their ribs unmatched, steaks hand cut every day. Everything, and I mean everything, is made on site, including their incredible bread. It's the one day, folks, that you can forget about low-carb diets. Trust me when I tell you, Texas Roadhouse, your restaurant, your destination when you say, where should we go and eat tonight?
From the newly renovated sports bar to the beautiful bayside views captured at the Tiki Bar, Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill has it all. Located at mile marker 104, the Big Chill also offers waterfront dining while experiencing breathtaking sunset views of the Florida Keys. It's simply the hottest spot in the Keys to cool off. That's Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill at mile marker 104 in Key Largo. For more information, call today at 305-45.
Professor with us, and we want to accomplish many things here. Mike Lubie, of course, has stated his position on last night's Dolphin game, angry with all of these social media posts about Brian Flores, which, Professor, I mean, looming very large right now is the fact that you, had what appeared to be or sounded like
Right?
just an absurd
Can we
conspiracy
get a little,
theory.
like, Lubie's getting angry?
Yeah.
Can we get angry that Stephen Ross and the Dolphins let Ryan fucking Fitzpatrick into the building to spread his Lucky Charms magic?
Oh my God,
And
you're right. Oh no.
First fucking time they do it, Tua goes down with a concussion, probably a career ender. I mean, like, how do you let that piece of shit into the fucking building?
Good for you, Ken. I didn't even think about that.
The fucking cops arrest Tyreek Hill, but you let Ryan Fitzpatrick run around the city. Do your fucking job, Miami-Dade police. The minute that fucking Lucky Charms motherfucker showed up in the city, he should have been thrown in fucking prison. Like, how do you let that piece of garbage into your fucking building, Ross? I mean, the man spent 2 years along with Flores trying to kill Tua. And the first time he shows up, what happens? Like, I can't believe you let that scumbag into the building. Like, unbelievable.
Bad omen. No doubt about it. Bad sign.
The best way to kick off your day is with Defo plus Lubie. We now return to the Defo Show.
All right, welcome back to the show. Good to be with you here at Degenerate Friday, the Friday before the biggest betting weekend of the year with the Super Bowl on tap. And Lubie, very convinced Kansas City is the team to go with.
I'm just leaning.
I'm thinking, fuck that. Let me do something really stupid and bet against Patrick Mahomes.
I mean,
I've already done it. I'm already on the Eagles. And I went big. I went for 4 dozen eggs.
You should do it in
Like, is this where we're headed? Like, we've gone actually past the cryptocurrency where, like, eggs are going to be the new fucking Bitcoin. Like, dudes are going to be like, yeah, Bitcoin's at $106,000. Fuck that. I put 6 eggs in my freezer yesterday.
I think it's even more romantic if you give your girl on Valentine's Day a dozen eggs instead of a dozen roses.
Right?
Because it shows that you're willing to spend some money. Even with the juiced price of
It
flying.
is actually Valentine's Day like inflation when you go to fucking Publix.
Yes, exactly. Where they've doubled the price since last night. If you picked them up on Wednesday and hoped they wouldn't wilt while you hid them somewhere, you're paying $12.95. Otherwise, it's $25.
So last Friday,
yeah,
I'm subbing for Lubie, who's off in Spain and had to come back and tell me how great Spain was and how, like, oh, you really need to go to Spain, Ken. You would love Spain. On the same fucking day where Trump announces he's going to let Elon computerize all airplanes. Like, have you been on fucking Twitter? You're letting this man now control your lives with airplanes.
Incredible.
The best case scenario is that fucking Sophie Rain is going to be walking up and down the aisles selling her OnlyFans on every airplane. And if you don't understand that Sophie Rain reference, you should thank God, because everybody who's been on Twitter in the last 2 years does. But the way Elon runs fucking Twitter, you want to let this man now be in charge of your actual life by getting on an airplane? There is no way I'm going to Spain. There's no way I'm going anywhere. I would rather take the goddamn Bright Line in terms of safety, and it kills like 4 people a day. But at least they're outside the train; it's not the passengers.
Not a great idea to stop on the tracks, though. You would have to agree with that.
I 1,000%. I don't want to get on the bright line either, but compared to airplanes right now, it seems like the safest ride in the history of history. Like, anyway, so Lubie's telling me about how great Spain is. Last Friday we have to come on air, and the number one story is Justin Tucker. So I'm telling Lubie, I had to do 45 minutes on hand jobs and massage parlors, which I really thought was going to be about as low as my thing. But then I tune in last night, and Bill Belichick dresses up like a pimp and brings his 27-year-old girlfriend 99% naked wearing one of his Super Bowl rings to the NFL award. Like, if you want evidence, by the way, that America is a racist and a misogynist country, look at the differences in reaction when Kanye West brought his wife, not his girlfriend, his wife, to the Grammy Awards, and everybody freaked the fuck out about it. It's like, oh, Kanye West is sex trafficking her. Look at the dead look in her eyes. But Bill Belichick brings a much more inappropriate woman to the NFL awards, and the difference is literally like 4 inches of sequence in those outfits. Like, she dressed more like a streetwalker than the actual streetwalkers in New Orleans. Like, I'm honestly surprised fucking LaBelle didn't come and sing Lady Marmalade behind her. She was dressed so much like a streetwalker. And everybody's like, oh my God, he's living the dream. Good for Bill. What a man. What a great guy. Like, I'm sorry, if you want evidence that America is racist and misogynist, it is the differences in reaction. Like, Kanye West brings his wife to the Grammys. Everybody loses their fucking minds.
Oh my God, look at this outfit.
Bill Belichick brings a 27-year-old to a much more inappropriate event.
He's 24.
And everybody's like, I'm sorry. If you're that girl's father, how are you not stabbing everybody involved in this?
Gronk is still alive.
Like, honestly, how much does this girl hate her father? Like, she's clearly trying to get her dad to commit suicide, because I definitely would have gone to my garage and started the car.
If she was dating Brady, it would be a stretch.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I mean, and look how, and now he's dressing like a pimp. He's dressing like Cat Williams for a goddamn concert. All that he's missing is the hat and the gold cup. Like, and everybody's like, oh, Bill, you're the man. Bill's living the dream. Really? The dream is to show up with a girl dressed like a hooker while you take a job at the college level to try to prove that it wasn't just Brady and cheating that carried you for 20 years. I my personal view, and again, I have my own, social, morals and whatnot. Like, it's not the dream; it's just pathetic. Because, like, look at the dead look in her eyes. You know, she is not looking forward to going home and having to see those wrinkly old balls. Like,
and Kanye's wife, I think, are close in age. Like, she was just naked.
Right.
Like, this outfit's ridiculous.
Like I said, there's like 4 inches of sequence is the only difference between those two outfits.
Outfit's ridiculous.
And Kanye didn't let her wear a Grammy around the neck. Belichick's letting her wear his goddamn Super Bowl ring on her finger.
That was weird.
We're at Anna Nicole Smith time. Like, she's just clearly robbing a pathetic old man.
That doesn't even look right. I mean, it literally looks like her grandfather.
Fucking gross. Like, and I don't judge. I don't give a fuck. Look, my wife and I have an age difference.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to judge, but I'm saying, look at how America reacted to Kanye.
100%.
And look how America is reacting to Bill Belichick.
They're loving Belichick on that.
100%.
Right?
72 years old, Belichick. Is that right? Is he
I'm
72?
trying to think about this poor girl's goddamn father, who's probably about my age.
Yeah.
Having to look at these pictures.
Yeah.
And, like, again, how do you not go get your gun? How do you not everybody?
Very strange dating a much younger woman and then having to, like, meet the family.
Yeah, like, come on.
I mean, in this case, maybe they were big-time Patriot fans or something, but nonetheless.
I don't care how big a fucking Patriot.
That doesn't even look right. It really doesn't. It doesn't look right. It's one of the times where you look at an older guy with a really young babe, and this.
And again, it's not the goddamn Grammys; it's the NFL awards.
Yeah.
It's like, owner guys and they're equally old, Botoxed up wives. It's.
You didn't have a blouse.
Exactly. Get the fuck out of here.
Like I said,
the ring would have provided more coverage of her breasts than this outfit did.
Like I said,
Why not
Kanye's
just show
wife,
up in pasties and a G-string at that point?
Kanye's wife showed up naked and looked less like a hooker than this girl looks like.
No, they were making a statement clearly. Like, this is just, I don't know what you're doing.
That's pretty well. And like you said, the NFL awards. I mean, it's not like
It's weird.
they're at
Isn't
the Grammys where
I
Lady
have now
Gaga
switched.
tried out
I've now
screen.
switched, and like I can't wait for ACC coaches to just rub Bill Belichick's nose in it. And like, I can't wait for Mario fucking.
All of them are
Cristobal.
dating women older than he is.
They
even
are.
the young folks.
I can't wait
Even
for Mario
even Lane
fucking
Kiffin.
Cristobal to show up and drop 60 on him and be like, "Yeah,
Shut
you're a shit coach, dude. Like I thought you were good. Like you're garbage, man." Can't wait for Dabu to lecture him about little baby Jeebus and his views on dating 24-year-olds.
any selections before we get into this big board? Professor? Anything you want to?
I mean, I told Lubie, of course, that I was on Philly, which I did earlier in the week for favorable line value. And of course, so Lubie was like, "Yeah, there's a story here about how Jalen Carter caught the bubonic plague and
Yes.
and is just spreading it around the Philadelphia locker room." I'm like, "Yeah, but it's Jalen Carter. They'll just, put 4 or 5 Bacardis in him and let him go kill somebody in the car. He'll feel fine."
Yeah.
No, I look, we've talked about it earlier in the week. By the numbers, I don't see how you're on Philly here. Like all the numbers point to Philly winning and possibly, winning by a couple scores in this game. But it's hard not to have that Kobe and Shaq Lakers feeling about the Kansas City Chiefs, where one, they can just flip the switch at any time, and two, if they need a friendly flag against the Eagles, or in Kobe and Shaq's case, some 21 fourth quarter free throws in Game 6 against the Kings, that might happen at any given moment. So.
Sure.
I mean, there are certainly reasons to be on. I don't think this is a game to go big on despite being the Super Bowl. I lean towards Philadelphia, but I certainly understand the mentality behind backing the Kansas City Chiefs. And Lubie said it last night that, he feels this is like the NBA team that can flip the switch at the right moment. And I don't disagree. They certainly have that feeling around them. It's just that has never really existed in the NFL. That has been entirely an NBA phenomenon.
Yep.
To some degree, a Major League Baseball phenomenon, because you do see those pitching staffs that just start to dominate in the postseason.
Yep.
We've never seen that in the NFL, but I'm not disagreeing with Lubie. The Chiefs certainly do have that aura about them. But yeah, I'm on Philly. I actually think it's a pretty good lean, but just because the Chiefs have the presence they have, I can't say it's a good time to go big.
Yeah, you certainly can't discount the Kansas City Chiefs, no matter what you think about the Philadelphia Eagles, and consequently, I don't know that you can sit there. I mean, that's why the line is what it is.
And you and I talked about it
Yeah.
Last weekend into this week, the Vic Fangio factor. Will Vic Fangio come out of his shell and not just play rush 4, play too high behind it the entire game, because you're playing Patrick Mahomes and a veteran offensive set of receivers who will find the seams in zone if you play it all night long. So we'll see.
I think Vic Fangio goes Vitas Garlitis and says nobody beats Vic Fangio 9 times in a row. Just he muscles it up on this one.
I mean, maybe, but the dude's been calling. I mean, it's like having Monty Kiffin as your defensive coordinator and expecting him to get away from the Tampa 2.
Yeah.
In a game like this dude, I mean, again, Dolphin fans know it, because Dolphin fans spent all of last year complaining about it.
Screaming for a blitz.
How he plays defense. We saw the ultimate situation last year in the playoffs, where you came into that game in Kansas City and everything possible that could go against you was against you.
Yes.
And you still, and honestly, to some degree it worked. You kind of held down the Kansas City offense in that game. But like everybody's like, no, you need to score a defensive touchdown in this game for us to win. And he still wouldn't blitz. He still sat in that zone all night long. So we'll see.
See what happens. Yeah. All right. Let's do it. The big board of goofball Super Bowl props, right?
We're calling it the Stupid Bowl props.
Stupid Bowl props.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And we have done a little twist on it, as we try to every year. And this year we are ranking them in order of stupidity. So we know.
Very good.
And I just want to give a little note here for props, which is, look, if you and your friends make a props list and you each throw $5 in, and like whoever wins the most, that's fine. I don't think that's stupid. If you're throwing, $10 a prop, that's fine. I don't think. But if you are betting serious money on any of these, you need to seek help. You need to call somebody. Not about your gambling problem,
Right.
but about the fact that you are a complete fucking moron betting on the things that you're betting.
Could
You
run
don't
for
need
office.
to go to meetings. You need to have one of those dog cones around your head to keep you from nibbling on your paw off. Like
Yeah.
you are just it's not that you're a bad gambler, you have a problem gambler. It is that you are a fucking idiot for betting serious money on any of these.
All right, here we go.
And I want to start this one with a special bonus slide concerning, an issue, because we've had a good example of this down here just last week. Another story we talked about, and that is, if the FBI is investigating Terry Rozier, why the fuck are they not investigating Reba McEntire for clearly trying to fix the over on the national anthem last year?
No doubt about it.
Terry Rozier turns his ankle and misses the last 8 games of the season, and the FBI's got a fucking black helicopter circling his house 24 days a week. But this bitch keeps singing The Brave over and over and over again for 45 seconds until the bet supposedly goes over. They had to wash the bet out, and nobody says shit. Nobody accuses her of a fix.
As she's winking the members of the Gambino crime family.
Obvious point-shaving scandal in the history of all time.
Yeah.
And nobody says shit. Like, I don't get it. Like, it's not okay to fix your assists on FanDuel. We're going to ban you from your career. But she can go fix the goddamn national anthem and nobody says a word about it.
And there's plenty of money in the pool there, so tough to identify who's coming.
Right, and overbettors are like, oh, no, that's totally legit to sing The Brave over and over again 7 times at the end of the song. That's clearly an over.
It would be like at Yankee Stadium when that Robert Merrill recording of the anthem started to skip.
What did she suddenly develop a fucking stuttering problem at the end of her singing for the first time?
I remember texting you too, going, "What the fuck?" Like 5 times.
Like we talked about the Country Music Awards, and Defo's mad at Dolly Parton for only singing Jolene over and over again for one song, but has no issue with this chick just adding The Brave over and over.
I had the over. What are you talking about?
At the end of the goddamn song.
She was coming up way short, man. She was a shoe standing up before the wire.
If this doesn't make you suspect that the national anthem can now be fixed, I don't know what the fuck else. Like, I don't know what this guy this week's gonna do, because he plays 4 goddamn instruments.
Oh no, this is over, way over.
Including the guitar. He might go Jimi Hendrix and play the whole goddamn thing on the guitar and then sing the song.
This would be like Grover Washington doing the anthem.
I'm just saying, Reba McEntire has started the era where we have to start looking at the time on the national anthem very suspiciously.
Shouldn't they throw in the Johnny Addy
FBI
thing?
is crawling up Terry Rozier's ass with a microscope because of some dumb Instagram bimbo and something she said about unders. Like, why the fuck are you not investigating Reba McEntire? Why aren't you sweating her entire family about what happened last year with the national anthem?
Should we lend this to the NFL? And when the anthem hits the time, if it goes over, you throw in a little Johnny Addy? So that the bettors know for sure that they've won. Because
I never thought about you, but yes, she was doing the goddamn Defo show, wasn't she?
Yeah.
The time.
All right, that's number 5. Good start.
No, that's just a bonus.
Oh, that's just a bonus. All right.
Yes. Number 5 starts with our least stupid prop. And at face value, it's actually very stupid. But given the NFL, maybe not so much. And that is plus 331, any field goal or extra point hit the goalpost. Now, I'm going to say that this one is actually not as stupid as it appears, like, even though it's a very low price, because I don't know what's going on with kickers in the NFL. Because honestly, either kickers now all started to suck at the same time, or kicking has gotten so fucking easy for them that they're actually trying for ricochet shots so they can impress each other. Punters have gotten like goddamn pool players. They're putting English on it that'll ricochet into the side pocket from the half-yard line. Like at this point, if you don't put it inside the 2 as a punter, you suck. Like, and they're all from goddamn Australia. So I assume this is now like an official game in Australia. Can you, hit it into the groundhog hole with a goddamn punt? Can you put it in a kangaroo's pouch from 40 yards away with a punt? Meanwhile, this is anecdotal evidence, but it seems to me like a kick has hit the post in something like 82% of NFL games I have seen it this season. It seems like kickers are fucking doing, even good kickers. It seems like they're doing this fucking intentionally at this point. They're like, oh yeah, I'm going to play it off the goalpost. It's going to go just inside, bang off the post and go through. I'm going to do the 2-bar. I'm going to hit the crossbar and then the goalpost, and then it's going to go in. Like, honestly, I can't even say this is a bad play. Like, plus 330 on it hitting it hits the post every fucking game.
Seems like it. This Elliott guy is kicking the ball like he's Joe Nedney. So
again, it hits the post more than fucking Ronaldo does on free.
All right, that's plus 330.
So while normally I would say you were a moron for playing this,
no,
I can't really say you're a moron.
No, it's decent.
Number
reasonable.
4.
It seems like a low price for that.
Number 4, and I am guilty of this, trying to logic out the national anthem time, which I have done multiple times on this show.
Yeah,
but there's always a prop where people try to figure out that they've got an edge. And this year, it seems, and I've seen this all over the place, there's a very famous, we'll just skip to it and I'll give you an explanation. But people seem to think now they've got an edge on the coin toss.
Oh,
like, if you want to bet the coin toss, I don't mind. But if you actually think you now have some logic, like a certain member of this panel, Mr. DeForest, who thinks if you flip it on one side, it will land on the other side. I was quoted 98% of the time.
I would even upgrade that to every time.
Defo thinks he can control a coin toss 98% of the time. I see this girl who's been on television handicapping for like 5 years. She's pretty famous, talking about how there's a distinctive edge because heads has gone 30 and 28 in coin tosses. Okay, you realize over that time span, that's one fucking flip. On a very limited sample size,
60 years worth.
One heads goes tails.
And
it's literally fucking 50-50. Like your edge is one goddamn coin flip. And you think, well, no, technically this isn't a 50-50 bet. Heads has no. Like, did you not take a math class? Like, for that limited sample size, that's a 50-50 split.
The smart money is on tails this year.
Why? Because
actually, it's tails that holds the 30-20.
Or is this the theory that the ref's going to hold it head side up, and therefore it will land on tails 98% of the time?
I believe, depending on who's flipping the coin, where their money is, that will determine the outcome.
Oh my God!
Again, this is not actually that stupid. Unless you think you could handicap a goddamn coin flip.
It's really stupid. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Which apparently many people think they do, including Defo, who has formed this theory based on him and his friends flipping their Mets team series cards in 1962.
You throw the card on the back.
Face up and come on the stats. Yes,
ask any old geezer that flipped baseball cards. Put the card on the statistical side, it would come up on the face side.
This is exactly what I'm talking about.
Every time.
This is only stupid if you think you have an edge.
This was basic Brooklyn, odds and probability.
If you understand that it is a 50-50 proposition, you're betting on that purpose of minus one.
Fine.
That's fine. I have no problem.
Yeah.
But if you think based on, it started on heads, it's going to land tails, or, historically it's 30-28, then you're a fucking idiot.
All right, that's number 4. Coin
number 3, and this is coming in as a minus 164 prop. And I don't really think it's necessarily that stupid, but it's kind of stupid because the bet itself is that stupid. And that's, what jersey will Jason Kelsey wear at the game? Not the guy who's playing. The retired brother who played for the Eagles, but his brother plays for the Chiefs. This is now, he is minus 164 to be wearing Philadelphia Eagles colors. Who the fuck cares? And what if he shows up in one of those stupid half and half jerseys that the mother wears every game? Are you more loyal to your team or you're more loyal to your brother? I personally would say be more loyal to your team because your brother's set. Like, who the fuck cares what happens to Travis at this point? He's won 3 Super Bowls. He's a first ballot Hall of Famer. The chick he's going to marry has like $2 billion or whatever. Yeah, fuck her. Like, stick with your team. Fuck him. Stick with your teammate. I understand why this is. But I don't understand that you're actively rooting for the shirt color of a guy who's going to be just in the stands.
What if he doesn't wear a jersey? Is that
And
like
why does he have to wear a jersey?
Yeah.
What do you? Oh no, it's team colors. It's not.
Okay,
It doesn't have to be a jersey.
Okay.
But
What if he wears one of his usual bizarre, court jester outfits?
Yeah, what if he wears a shirt?
Oh, if it's green, I guess you win.
How do you
Philly bet.
determine
I
the
don't.
outcome?
I have no idea.
What are people doing?
Like I have these the prop on Total Beers. Which we did last year. Is there some asshole just counting beer cups to determine what the? You know that's some fucking guy who works for the concession stand just making up a goddamn number.
Brian's right. He may end up like a NASCAR driver with all of his sponsorships on.
And this, it might just be, I mean, let's be honest, it's Jason Kelsey. There's a better than 50-50 chance. There's like a 90% chance. It's just whatever outfit his fucking wife lays out for him that morning.
Yeah.
You know he's not going to the closet himself and picking something out.
No way.
Like if his wife wants to fly out to Vegas and lay out big money on the plus side here, you're fucked.
Is there a prop on what his blood alcohol level will be before the game? Where they actually have him do a breathalyzer thing as he enters the sky.
I don't think they would allow that, but I think they make it for network TV, particularly if he's not drinking, the main title sponsor's beer.
Yes.
Which I assume if you have enough money, you're not drinking fucking Bud Light before the game.
Pretty good chance. Lousy beer. All right, that's number 3.
Number 2. And why can't I? Oh, number 2. And again, this is one of those ones that should not be popular, but because of this particular location is popular. And again, controlled completely by some numbnuts. And that is, you get plus 1,500 on will there be a power outage during the game. And this number, by the way, is way down. Wow. This number was plus 2,500 when it was at a different stadium last year. But here's the thing. The no side of this is minus 15,000.
Wow.
The plus side is only plus 1,500, which kind of tells me, given the disparity, that there's a chance somebody in Vegas has paid up some asshole janitor who has keys to the breaker box to turn the fucking lights off at some point in the game. Like, honestly, what can you possibly be making if you're the janitor at the goddamn Superdome, which is a junk pile anyway? Let's be honest about this. And you have complete control over this. Like, you definitely have the keys to the breaker box where you can go turn that shit off. Like, there's some guy whose job it is to broom that room out and, kill rats and whatever the hell else is in the bottom of the, go kill snakes that have invaded from the swamps of Louisiana into the basement of the Superdome, who can totally control this bet. So you are putting, if you were on the negative side of this at minus 15,000, you are putting your money in the hands of some janitor that makes like $12 an hour and is going to spend the whole goddamn game worried about if ICE is going to be there to deport him.
Yeah.
He's trying to make a score before he gets kicked out of the country by Trump and Vance.
New Orleans not exactly the cultural center for diversity, equality, and inclusion either. So that guy's probably making.
Well, again, we've all been to New Orleans. New Orleans, in terms of just natural environment, is like South Florida if we had built it actually in the fucking Everglades.
Yeah.
Like, there is definitely a guy with a shit job who has keys to the breaker box room in that because he has to kill the rats and the alligators and the snakes that have invaded from the goddamn swamp.
All right, well, it's not unprecedented there, and I guess that's why the low odds. I can't imagine anybody taking 15 dimes and bringing it to the window to try and win 100.
Right?
And then having to hope throughout the entire ball game. I mean, not even worrying about the score. Mahomes,
that nobody has paid off the goddamn rat guy for the Super Bowl.
That the lights don't go out. Yeah, that's kind of wild.
I don't care.
What if they flicker? Do you win?
And I don't care how good NFL security guy is. If a guy walks by with like a bag and a snake smashing club and tells you he's the rat guy, you're letting him through. You're not, give me your stick, I'll go do that myself. No, you are definitely letting that son of a bitch through.
This is up there, no doubt about it. All right, number 1, something that eclipses this ridiculousness.
Number 1, and there is a prop bet every year that people like super get on. We've encouraged it. I'm not going to lie. I've participated in this, trying to get people to bet on the national anthem. Like, that's fundamentally a stupid bet that all of a sudden everybody gets obsessed with. And this year there is one that is stupider than most. Honestly, maybe the stupidest of them all that has become the most trendy prop bet I have seen on the internet, and that is everybody's betting the fucking octopus. And either of you know what the octopus is?
No, what are you talking about? Octopus.
Okay. The octopus is a prop bet that a player will score a touchdown and then score the 2-point conversion afterwards by himself. It'll be one player. Jalen Hurts did this in the Super Bowl a couple of years ago. Because it's worth 8 points total, it is called the octopus.
All right.
Which is a dumb name for a dumb bet.
Never heard of it. I thought this was about throwing an octopus out of the stand.
That was like Detroit. I'm like,
again, yeah. Every year there's some really stupid prop that comes through, usually because somebody's handicapping something stupid like national anthem length or Gatorade color or any of the other dumbass things. This is something that happens once in every 112 NFL games.
And you're getting 8-1.
And you're getting 8-1. This is the new safety. Do you remember after the Denver Seattle Super Bowl, everybody started betting on fucking safeties?
Yes.
In the Super Bowl. This is the new safety, is the octopus. And I get it. People are on it because Jalen Hurts is involved, and you may get a 2-point situation, and they may do the tush push and do another tush push. It's possible. I'm not saying, there's no 0% chance, but it's a much bigger than plus 800 chance.
You would have to be getting more like 80-1 on that.
By the numbers, this happens once in every 112 NFL games.
Yeah, you're still getting.
And you're getting 8-1 on this. At 80-1, they're kind of giving you bad odds. At 8-1, they're absolutely fucking you. But everybody in the world is on this because of the goddamn tush push.
All right, there you have it.
That is probably, in my opinion, value included, the single stupidest prop you can bet. If you have bet this already, again, seek help, not for your gambling problem, but for your I'm a moron problem. Like you need to wear, a sign around that says, I need help. I'm not very bright.
All right, Professor, we'll see you in a few minutes here on yet another format, and hopefully we'll be able to reprise this because it was brilliant as always. Always appreciate you coming on the show, and of course, excellent job there. Many people via fan mail coming through and expressing their pleasure with having you on.
If you know, I just want to say one thing. Yeah. If you know the dad of Bill Belichick's girlfriend, go give him a hug. That man needs help this morning.
No doubt. Has to be enamored that it's Belichick and overlooking his own daughters.
Take him for a round of golf. Yeah. Make sure that man has a nice day because, wow, can you imagine being the guy who has to look at those pictures?
All right, the Professor, ladies and gentlemen, on a Degenerate Friday. Good luck with your Super Bowl wagers. And Professor will be joining me on nofilter.net and all of their fine affiliates just a few minutes from now. If you liked what he did, you'll like it again on that program. So as we poach some material, we'll see you on Bleacher Brothers again on Monday and our other platforms now, as well as we continue to try and expand the horizons here at the Defo Show. For Mike Lubie Lubitz, I'm Jeff DeForest. We'll see you next time as we leave it on that.
The time.
It's 9:07.
Let's go to eat a damn snack.
Look what they done to my